We are back again in Termina to look at some crazy myths and claims that all of you suggested in the comments. For example, can you swim in the air as a Zora? Can you feed Koume anything? And will a huge fish spawn if you catch too many of them? Well, let's find out. Music is crucial in every Zelda game, especially the N64 titles, where you need to use songs to do almost everything. You want to teleport? Play a song. Enter a dungeon? Play a song. Progress in the story? Play a freaking song. But apparently there's one little bug in the game involving the instruments seen in Majora's Mask. Philip said that if you talk to the Zora who tunes your guitar in Zora Hall, it will affect the other instruments you can play. So I went there, and after some looking around, I found a specific Zora I needed. Normally he just makes your guitar louder, but as soon as he hears how loud it is, he turns it down again. But if you don't talk to him and play the ocarina or any other instrument, it will sound like a guitar. However, as soon as you play a song, it goes back to the original sound. So clearly this is some sort of bug, but it does work. Here, just listen. And the effect only ends when you play the guitar again, because then the Zora will lower it. Now, I never knew about this, but I gotta say, this is one of my favorite bugs in the game, because it is very easy to do and has a fun effect. Like I've mentioned in the past, some of the claims that people suggest aren't really new to me, but still, if I think they are fun, I will add it to the video. And this next one falls into this category, because May said that if you shoot a Gibdo with a fire arrow, its bandages will burn off and reveal a Redead underneath. Now, I already knew that this claim was going to be true, but still I went to Ikana Canyon to expose some of the Gibdos circling the music box house. As soon as I hit one of them, you could see the Redead hiding below it. So yeah, Gibdos are just mummified Redeads. However, this is relatively well known. But still, I like this little detail a lot, so I wanted to show it off in this video. One of the best things about Majora's Mask is the different masks that allow you to become almost anything. You can swim as a Zora, roll around as a Goron, and fly using the Deku and its flowers. It's great to say the least. But this also introduces some issues. Link is constantly changing in terms of height and size, which is probably hell for developers to deal with. And apparently there's one little detail that I missed. I've been told in the comments that the signs actually change height depending on your form, which sounded crazy to me. So I went to a sign and transformed into a Zora, Deku and Goron to see if anything would change. And yeah, as you can see, the sign is a lot taller when you're a Zora, but as soon as you become a Deku, it is significantly shorter. It needs to be around head height so you can read it after all. And the developers kept this in mind. So this claim is true. While Majora's Mask is my favorite game, I don't know everything about it, especially all those little details that you barely notice. And Grey Matter said that when you're Deku Link and stand at the right spot, then a choo-choo will jump over you constantly, but it will never hit you. Now when I read this, I thought, this could work. I mean, the Deku is super small, and maybe the devs didn't keep this in mind like they did with the signs. So I went to Termina Field and confronted one of those living jello shots to see if it could actually get to me. And the answer is no. When you stand in the right spot, the choo-choo will jump over you constantly, but it will never ever touch you. So yeah, funny enough, this is true. Alright, this next claim kind of blew my mind, because I cannot believe I actually missed this little cutscene in the game. When you beat the boss of Snowhead, the whole region will go back to normal, and spring finally arrives. Normally, after doing this, you just leave or play the Song of Time. I mean, you're ready to move on to the next area after all. But according to Isaac, if you go to Goron Village and talk to the Gorons found there as Darmani, you will get loads of praise and are even offered to become the new chief. Now, I had never heard of this or seen this cutscene, so I went there to see if this claim was true at all. And the answer is yes! They will all stand around you and praise you a lot, and in the end you get offered the role of Goron leader, which is really cool but also very depressing. Darmani is dead, so he can never ever lead them, even though he and Link saved the Gorons. So this claim is true, but also a bit depressing. Normally, clipping out of bounds is pretty tough, and there's a reason for it. Because it can break the game if you're a speedrunner, and ruins the game if you're a casual player. But of course, people have found ways to get around this, and Vinny suggested I should try one of them, involving the barn seen at Romani Ranch. Because as we all know, the cows will be stolen by them on the first night of the cycle around 3 AM. Well, unless you stop them. Now if this happens, then the roof of the barn will be gone on the second day, because these beings literally rip it off while abducting the cows as well as Romani. And at that point, you can just climb on the barn as a Zora and jump straight down through the roof, leading to an out-of-bounds area. Now, I had never tried this, so I gave it a shot. And as you can see, this is 100% possible. And man, it took a long time before the game recognized I was nowhere near the actual map. So if you want to mess around with a free cam in the game but don't feel like installing mods, then this might be an interesting solution. In the previous video, we talked about special techniques to clip into Seikon's hideout early, but when I discussed this topic, many people started making additional claims about this place in the comments. And the one of Han Burgundy stood out the most, because he said that you can use the Fierce Deity mask in there, allowing you to wear the mask in and out of Clock Town. Now, I didn't believe this at all, so I clipped through the door using cheats and attempted to put on the Fierce Deity mask while I was in there. But no matter how hard I tried or where I was inside of Seikon's hideout, I was not able to put on the mask. So yeah, I have no idea where he got this from, but as you can see, it is clearly fake. Sure, there are glitches and tricks that allow you to wear the mask anywhere, but this isn't one of them. And even when I did research online, I couldn't find any evidence of this. So yeah, I don't think this is true. One thing I love about Majora's Mask is all the side quests. I love stuff like this in video games because man, I am all over the place at times. And these games also have a lot of little Easter eggs, some of which can make these side quests much easier. Well, that's what Justin said at least. He claimed that the Gorman brothers who will attack you during the Romani Ranch milk run won't touch you if you wear the Gorman mask. So I went through the whole quest and completed the milk run with the mask on and off. Now when I did this, I saw a huge difference. During the first run, they constantly attacked me, but as soon as I put the mask on, they did nothing and just looked sad, which is their normal reaction to this mask. So yeah, this works, but remember, you have to put it on before jumping on the wagon, otherwise you can't do it, because you can't put it on afterwards. When I test a myth or claim, I do my best to get to the bottom of it. And usually, I'm successful. But his next claim was a real challenge. In the past, we turned the Gossip Stone into an actual rocket, which worked. And at some point, it even explodes like a bomb. But after that, multiple people, including this commenter, wondered if the explosion will actually hurt you. Now this was hard to test, because the Gossip Stone is much faster than I am, even though I used cheats. Each time, I was too slow. Even when I put down a bomb and immediately start going up, I wasn't fast enough. The gossip rocket caught up to me and flew past, exploding high up in the sky before I could ever reach it. So I couldn't really test this myth. So I guess I would label this one as plausible, but in the end, I have no idea. But wait! My lovely editor Kotlol actually came up with a brilliant idea for us to test this one. Just go to a grotto and make one of the gossip stones down there explode. This way it won't fly too far away. So I did exactly that, and I was able to test the myth. But as you can see, this explosion won't damage you, and I even tried this multiple times. Which means that this claim is false. The Ikana area is one of the most fascinating places in the game due to its history, and you can also find loads of little Easter eggs here. And Alavir suggested we should look at one involving the captain's hat and the undead king of Ikana, because according to him you will get special dialogue if you talk to him wearing this mask. So I went to the castle and confronted the king to see what would happen. And when I did, he was shocked. Due to the mask, he thought I was his former general, and was shocked that I was so tiny. But then he noticed I was tricking him and so his guards started attacking me again. Now I will say I have seen this before, because it's a pretty well-known Easter egg, but many people wanted me to include it, so I decided to do it, even though this one isn't some huge mystery for most of us. But as you can clearly see, this works. You can fool the king for a bit, and you will also get an interesting reaction from all the enemies inside of the castle. Clearly, everyone respected Captain Kita. So yeah, this claim is true. During your quest to defeat Majora and stop the moon from falling, you go to the different regions of Termina, and here you will collect new masks each time that are crucial. Now, I absolutely love this whole concept, and I especially like the fact that each one has a bit of a backstory. Mikau, for example, is a musician, and he's also kind of famous. But as far as I knew, no one ever recognizes him outside of the Great Bay Area. But according to Kit Kat Board, the guy who works the night shift in the trading post, is a huge fan of Mikau, and so when you talk to him, he will be pretty excited. Now, I had never heard of this or seen it before, so I had to give it a shot. And yeah, as you can see, he's pretty starstruck. He compliments you, claims he's coming to one of your shows, and even mentions that he plays in a band himself. So yeah, this claim is true, and I never knew that Mikau also had fans all over Termina. In this video, we already looked at a way to go out of bounds. However, while that one didn't require tricks, this next one does. Because Aurora Silver Hero said that you can go out of bounds in East Clock Town. All you do is go to this fenced-in area above the milk bar, position yourself the right way, and use the blast mask together with the shield. And this will launch you out of bounds. Now this was new to me, so I decided to try it, although I will say I didn't have high hopes. Now alright, I did exactly what was mentioned in the comments, and this didn't work. So I tried a slightly different strategy, but again, nope, nothing really happened. As far as I can see, this just doesn't work, and I even did some research online and couldn't find anything. So I am pretty certain that this claim is false. When you first arrive at Ikana Canyon, you will notice that something is horribly wrong, and the people who live in the Music Box house are in grave danger. Now, almost everyone ends up saving them because you need the mask that Pamela's father drops when you heal him. And after this, Pamela will be extremely grateful for what you did. But Bura told me that she won't recognize you in any other form. So if you save her dad as a Hylian, she will be nice to you. But as soon as you talk to her as a Deku or Goron, she will kick you out. Now, I had never tested this, and you know what that means. I have to go there and try this to see what happens. Now, as you can see, she isn't friendly to you whatsoever, and even kicks you out if you're in any other form, which kind of makes sense, because you look completely different after all. You're basically a stranger. So, this claim is true, and it also makes a lot of sense. In the past, we've tried to sell some questionable items to the curiosity shop owner, and usually he buys anything you bring to him. But this made Cecil curious. She asked me if the shop owner will treat you differently when you're a Deku, Goron, or Zora. Will he give you more or less money? Or will he only buy certain goods from you when you're in a different form? Well, who knows? So I decided to confront him in every form to see what he would say. And to be honest, the outcome surprised me. When I spoke to him as a Deku, he treated me like a child, which is what most NPCs do. So I couldn't buy or sell anything. But as soon as I entered as a Zora or Goron, he would be mean to me and basically says to get the heck out of here and never come back. So yeah, this guy is great and really nice to everyone he meets. But yeah, Cecil was right. He will treat you differently. Also, I probably mispronounced your name. Sorry for that. Most of us know about the little Easter egg involving Tingle and the Swamp Tourist Center guide. If you take a picture of Tingle and show it to him, he will say that he is his son. In general, he is quite ashamed of Tingle and says that he has to grow up, which will probably never happen. But do other NPCs have a unique reaction for the picture of Tingle? That's what Cecil wanted to know. So I went to the Great Bay and talked to the fisherman there, who wanted a picture of a Gerudo pirate. But instead of showing him a beautiful woman, I gave him this beauty. But sadly enough, his reaction was a bit bland. He only says, "What's this? I guess you don't have one after all." Which isn't too unique, because this is his normal reaction for any picture that isn't a Gerudo. So yeah, you can show him to others, but their reaction will be a bit boring. Now, as we all know, if you become a member, your comments will be at the top of my list. And so we are going to look at a claim that Julian suggested recently. It's a pretty good one. He said that the Captain Mask will scare Dampe the Gravekeeper, who can be found in Ikana Canyon. And he also wondered if any of the other masks would scare him. So I went to Dampe and talked to him while wearing every mask in the game. And to my surprise, he was completely calm when I talked to him, and only freaked out when I put on the Captain's Mask. But when I had the Gero or Gibdo mask on, he didn't care at all, which I didn't expect. I mean, these are also pretty creepy masks. But I guess he's only afraid of the Stealth Children, because those spawn at the graveyard during the night. So yeah, Julian's claim is true, and Dampe is only scared of Captain Kita and his men, and no one else. Overall, enemies like Gibdos and Redeads are quite scary. They are tough and have a terrifying shriek that makes Link freeze in place. But there's a way to get around them quite easily while avoiding a fight, because Jonathan said that they will leave you alone if you walk slowly. You can even get really close to them this way. Now, I had never tried this, so I decided to play around with a couple of Gibdos to see how they would react. Now, when I walked slowly, I could do anything I wanted. They would leave me alone, even when they bumped into me. Clearly, sound is how they locate prey, because as soon as I started running, they would immediately turn around or even shriek at me to stop me. So yeah, sound is key, and if you move slowly, they will leave you alone, allowing you to sneak past or kill them instantly with a powerful spin attack, which means that Jonathan was right. We've experimented a lot with creating giant enemies, which is a thing in both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. However, now someone from the comments section has claimed that you can even do this with other creatures you find in the game, because Levi said that if you catch fish in bottles, then at some point a larger one will spawn, just like we saw with some of the enemies. Now, I was very skeptical of this, because in the past I've seen it work with enemies, but I've never seen this with any other creatures. So I went to the swamp to see what would happen if I did exactly what Levi said. And to be honest, I wasn't too impressed. I caught loads of fish in this small body of water, and as far as I could see, they didn't really become any bigger. Sure, you have bigger and smaller fish in the pond, but they didn't really grow due to me taking fish out. I never saw a true giga fish. So in my opinion, this claim is false. Sure, there are different sizes, but you can't compare it to the massive enemies you can find in the game. When you first go to the swamp, you have to save Koume, who has gone missing after Skull Kid knocked her off her broom. Normally, you bring her back to full strength with a potion that you get from her sister who wants you to find her. But Nielsen was curious if only potions could work. I mean, you can also drink milk to get hearts back, so will she accept that as well? I mean, I don't know. So I got some milk and went over to Koume to see if she would accept and drink it. But as soon as I showed it to her, she immediately rejects it. And to be honest, she's also very mean to you. In her last sentence, she even directly insults you. So I drank the milk and just left her there. And as we can see, this claim is false. You can't give her anything else but a potion. Now we will end this video with a simple myth that is super easy for me to test due to the cheats that I have in my game. Because Kaitree said that you can swim in the air as a Zora if you use the moon jump cheat in the game. And this effect can even be recreated by just using glitches. Now in the past I had heard of this, so I decided to try it for myself because I expected it to work. So I went to Great Bay, turned into a Zora, jumped into the water to swim around, and then I used the moon jump cheat. As you can see, this leads to me being out of the water, but as long as I hold down the swim button, I can continue to swim in the air. So yeah, I was truly swimming through the air, but I was limited to an extent. I was stuck in a certain angle and couldn't really adjust as soon as I was in the air. Clearly, there are limits, but as you can see, this claim is true, and if you don't have access to cheats, you can also use some glitches to achieve a similar effect. Now those were all the myths we had for this video. Aside from that, I want to give a shout out to our massive legend member, Julian Lanning. And don't forget, leave your ideas for future videos in the comments, and if you become a member, you will be on the top of my list. And last but not least, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss any future videos.